Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and what can I say? We just keep winning here. First, the Supreme Court crushes affirmative action across the nation. Then they just ruled this morning that a website designer doesn't have to comply with woke LGBT activism. Now we're getting word that BlackRock CEO Larry Fink is backpedaling on enforcing what's called ESG and DEI initiatives, which are just a bunch of more woke nonsense. But it looks like it's all coming crashing down. Joining me to discuss this bombshell news is Ross Givens, who's an expert stock market trader and instructor. Ross had an amazing free training yesterday where upwards of 1,000 of you attended, and the response was so overwhelming. He's offering to do a follow-up Encore free training tomorrow, July 1st, which we'll talk about more in due course. But Ross, welcome back. Congrats on yesterday's webinar. I was there. It was amazing.
You were. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of Patriots came out, learned a lot. We were really happy with the outcome.
Oh, it was awesome. I'm so glad. Thank you for doing a follow-up tomorrow. We'll talk about more about it in due course. But for those who don't know, let's start with some terms here. What are things like DEI and ESG, and how has BlackRock in the past been forcing companies to comply with that?
Okay, so DEI, which has been in the news recently, stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's the stuff Florida recently outlawed, these initiatives. They're basically legalized racism, just in favor of minorities, right? ESG is really what's important for stocks. This stands for environmental, social, and corporate governance. So rating agencies give these companies an ESG score based on whether or not they believe they're employing ethically responsible business practices. But here's the important thing, like you said, is how BlackRock forces these companies to comply. So if a company refuses to bend the knee, so to speak, they will punish the stock. All right. BlackRock manages over $10 trillion, which is just an unfathomable number. But they are the 1,000-pound gorilla on Wall Street. So for the last few years, what they've been doing is pushing these, what they call sustainable growth funds, which are just funds full of stocks that have these high ESG scores. So when a company gets their ESG score downgraded, by these company police, these funds dump the stocks. They're selling billions of dollars worth of the stock, which drives the price down. But if they play nice and the ESG score goes up, well, now you've got BlackRock throwing billions at the stock, driving the price higher. So the narrative for them, what they tell the everyday investor is, oh, look how much better these good, ethical companies perform over these bad guys, when in reality, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. They are the ones driving the price up or driving it down based on this, as you said, this woke ESG ranking system. And researchers at MIT just completed a very in-depth study on this. They studied something like 3,600 companies, but they concluded that these ESG rating downgrades have a, quote, pronounced negative effect on the stock for up to 24 months, while upgrades have, of course, a positive effect.
So virtuous bullies, basically, is what you're saying. Man. But now the good news is we've got word straight from BlackRock CEO Larry Fink himself that it looks like he's done with this. He doesn't want to be associated with ESG or DEI any longer. What's going on there?
I mean, I think it's a lot like everything else we're seeing with Target and Disney and these others. People are just waking up. I mean, the whole thing is BS. These ESG ratings have become a tool for people like George Soros and the woke left to penalize the companies that don't share their twisted values. So I'll give you a couple examples. This will make you laugh. Some of the highest ranked companies by these ESG scores are Apple, who makes their phones in sweatshops, okay? Oil and gas companies, Conoco, Chevron, Marathon Petroleum, Cummins, which makes these heavy-duty truck parts and diesel engines. I mean, I'm not saying these are bad companies, but they don't exactly scream ethically responsible business to me. Meanwhile, Skechers, the tennis shoe company, they're at the bottom of the list. Their ESG score is a 1 out of 100. You want to guess why? There's no women on their board of directors.
Oh, gee.
That's the whole thing. Tesla has a low score. The
Right.
company leading the electric vehicle charge has a lower ESG score than Philip Morris cigarettes. All right, explain that one to me. So that's what's going on. It's just so ridiculous. I think these guys are finally distancing themselves as people like you, thank God, are bringing this stuff to light and showing people what's going on.
Yeah, I think didn't Elon Musk tweet out fairly recently, I think in response to a WEF forum or so forth, that the S in the ESG stands for satanic. So he's certainly doing a lot to wake everybody up to how insane this is. Here's Tesla on literally the front lines of green energy, and they've got this low ESG score because they don't have the right ideology and the like. I don't know if you saw the James O'Keefe bombshell, the hidden video expose, right, of the inner workings of BlackRock. Very fascinating, sort of behind the scenes stuff. But one of the things that we found out was how they bribe politicians with insider trading secrets involving information on what corporate CEOs are doing with their company's stock. Can you explain how that works there and why that would be so enticing for a politician?
Sure. Yeah. And this didn't surprise me at all. To be honest, I watched that video. It is basically a guy tried to show off for a girl, but he revealed all the stuff, right? I mean, I thought this was common knowledge. Apparently it's not. But as I've talked to you about before, these corporate insiders have just such an enormous advantage over everyday investors because they know all the news before it goes public.
Right.
They know what the earnings are going to be. They know how well new products are selling. They know when they're going to complete a big acquisition or when they're going to get bought out by a competitor at a premium. It is a huge edge. And that is very valuable information because all you have to do is buy the stock before that news comes out. Right. And then you make a fortune when the stock shoots up. So this is their way to pay politicians without actually paying them. So it's basically bribery without the paper trail. So I give them credits for the creativity, but it's corrupt for sure.
Right. In terms of it being used in order to exercise inordinate influence in Washington, D.C. No question. But the irony to this, and I've learned this through you, thank you very much, since you're an expert in this, is that what so many of us don't know is that this very information is actually available to all of us via the SEC. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, that's the funny part to me because these politicians are breaking laws because this information. They could have just called me. People don't realize, look, when these insiders, when the CEOs and CFOs and board members, when they buy or sell their own company stock, they have to report that information within 48 hours. And they do that on this SEC database called the Edgar database. And anyone can access this. It's a bit archaic. We've got some software that scans and collects all this information and puts it into usable format. But essentially, you can see when they're loading up on the stock. And so as we talk about in the training, we tell people things to look for. So, for example, if you've got, a vice president of a company who's been there 6-7 years, never bought any stock, then suddenly out of nowhere, he buys 5 times for $3 million right before a big earnings announcement's coming out. It's like, maybe, might know something. And this is all public information. So there's a lot of these trades, but what we try to show our people what we do for our members is very quickly filter that stuff out to ignore that, it's $1,000, it's $10,000, and look for those what appear to be very clear opportunistic buying activities. And, it's as I always say, greed is always going to be there. Corruption is always going to exist. When you have access to information that is so valuable that can make you millions of dollars in days or weeks, they're gonna use it. And we're simply following that information and piggybacking those trades, and we've done very well with it.
Yeah, and what I love about it is you're doing it for patriots who just want to support faith, family, and freedom. You're not doing it with politicians trying to inordinately influence their policies, right? To your advantage and the like. So, you did this training yesterday. I was there. You're amazing. You're doing an Encore free training tomorrow. Can you tell us a little bit of of what to expect. And we've got a link down below if anybody wants to sign up for it. We've got, gang, we had thousands the other day. I know we're going to have thousands more. Give us a sense, Ross, of what you got for everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, so I try to go A to Z. I mean, I've been doing this since 2015, so almost 10 years now. As you said, I believe I'm one of the experts on it. If there's someone else who knows more about the insider trading stuff, I'd love to meet them. I haven't met them yet, but it's been a lot of years. I've got analysts full-time doing this, and this is all we do is track this information. And so we are scanning this database on a daily, every day, looking for just in-your-face opportunities where 4, 5, 6, 7 people at the company are suddenly buying up the stock completely out of nowhere. There's potentially news coming, and it has led us to some big gains. Is every stock going to quadruple instantly? No, but I mean, we've got stocks. We bought an oil company when it was at $3. Oil's going down. Turns out they'd hedged all their production at like $70 a barrel before it went down to 10. Market didn't know it yet. We bought a little medical research company 2 months before GlaxoSmithKline bought them out at an 80% premium. Wow. Just following the insiders because they know, what's coming. Right. So what we try to do in that training is compress, 8 or 10 years of this stuff into a 1-hour session and just show you the big things you want to look for, where this database is, how to access it, how to see what stocks insiders are buying right now, and then the signs you want to look for really good opportunities, the things you want to watch out for that could trip you up. Money management techniques, show lots of examples in real-time cases. And then, as you know, everyone who registered for this, we send them the research on our top 2 picks right now. They're fully vetted, fully researched. You can see the depth of what we do. And the stocks we're recommending to members right now that are being heavily bought by insiders. So the feedback's been tremendous. I can't thank you enough for turning so many patriots on to us and helping us share this information because we've seen it change a lot of lives. And I've seen people make a great deal of money with this. We've made money every single year since we launched. We made money in 2022 in the worst bear market since 2008. And we're continuing to make money now. And I just think it's a great resource for people to have, and a way to take what is essentially a corrupt system and use it to their advantage.
Exactly. Yeah. Get rid of all the being bought off element and just try to support your family with faith, family, and freedom and the like. Gang, you got to click on that link below. Sign up for special Encore free training with Ross. Saturday, July 1st. Do you have a time, Ross, Eastern time?
Yes, it is at 11 or 10. It's 11 a.m. Eastern.
11 a.m. Eastern. 11 it should be, yeah, and it should be on. If
it's not 11, it's 10 a.m. I apologize, but
there you go. Click on the link and you'll find out. You'll absolutely know that, gang. You can make this 4th of July weekend the time you learn how to trade with the exact same insider knowledge as BlackRock has, but perfectly legally and ethically. You're not being bought off, right? But don't wait. Seating registration is limited. We see it happen all the time with Ross. More people register than can sit, so you got to register early. So click on that link below right now. Register now. Get ready for an Encore event. I've sat through it. It's amazing. You're going to love this presentation. It's going to change your life. Get ready for an Encore event that's just going to absolutely blow you away. Ross, you're a treasure, man. Thank you so much for being with us again.
Dr. Steve, always good to talk to you.